All right, have you ever wanted to make your own salsa? Come on, it's this easy.
It's going down. It's going down, down.
So we're gonna pick out 6 quality good Roma tomatoes. We're gonna find some good ones up in here. They don't have to be super red. We don't always get that beautiful color in our salsa. Sometimes our salsa looks a little orange. In our recipe, we use 2 jalapeno peppers. So we're gonna find 2 quality big, I like the big boys. Try to find a solid guy. Tray out, let's see what we got up in here. Oh yeah, that's a nice pepper. And there's another quality one right there. Now, normally we put hatch chilies in ours. We've done that before, and I'm not seeing any hatch chilies today. So we're gonna hit up, do we wanna go Cubanello? Nah, we'll go ANAHIEM chilies. We'll throw 2 ANAHIEM chilies up in there. Grab this big guy, and this big guy, we'll roast those bad boys off. And then we're gonna grab 1 poblano pepper. Fire that bad boy up here. Let's get a nice big old guy. Oh yeah, that's a nice big old guy right there. 1 bushel of cilantro will do. Now, don't get frisky and think that once you see the way that we end up creating this salsa, don't get frisky and think, oh, I'm gonna try to roast the cilantro as well. Let me tell you, right off the bat, doesn't work out well. You dry out the cilantro, and then you basically took all the moisture out of your cilantro, which is what gives it all that pop in the salsa.
But we never changed this. We never changed it indoor.
We never changed it to cinematic. Well, I'll work with some color grading and see if we can't fix it. I want to try to find a smaller white onion because technically our recipe only calls for half. So like this massive guy, I don't need this massive guy. I'm gonna go with a half size, and then we'll use this whole thing, not waste anything. I need 1 clove of garlic. We're gonna absolutely roast this in a fantastic way. What else did we need for the recipe? I didn't bring the recipe.
Oh, you didn't?
I was stupid and didn't bring the recipe. So the only things I needed here were peppers, the tomatoes, the onion, the cilantro, lemon and lime. This girl knows her stuff. Fire up 1 full lime and 1 full lemon. For this recipe, we're gonna absolutely, I do love my lime. I would normally fire up 2 limes. And we have many different variations. Like this is really just really a base recipe. So for instance, like we went to a bachelor party 2 weekends ago, and we made 5 different types of salsa. One of them was a corn salsa, one of them was a kiwi salsa, one of them was a pineapple salsa. We made all kind of different versions. So this is a great base to work off of, and then basically whatever you like, add to it. You know, not a single one of my recipes is supposed to be something that is dead set, do this or there's no way. You know, it's all just a base layer, and just like any recipe that I've ever, you know, done in my life, I have never really followed a recipe correctly. I can't tell you the last time I followed a recipe correctly. You know, I've cooked several Christmas dinners for my entire family, and I have not used 1 recipe fully the whole way through, which is kind of comical. You know, you're cooking for all these people and you're trying to do all this stuff, and then you manipulate all the recipes that you use. Like, who does that? Goofballs like me. All right, so for 18 bucks, we got all the produce that we need for the salsa, and we're gonna go home. We got a little bit of avocado oil still at the house, and all the spices and seasonings. You know, your boy has a full pantry, so If you don't have those, we'll get that full list for you, and the recipe's coming, baby. Let's go.
Did you have a long day? Did you have a long day? Want your butt scratch? Butt scratch, butt scratch.
Good girl. That's a good.
Before we start chopping up the vegetables, the produce, we are going to set the oven to 420 and we're going to roast these bad boys. Cutting board, roasting pan, parchment paper, and now we need to clean our produce. So we're going to pull out our food wash. This is going to be white vinegar, water with a spritz of lemon juice in it. Start out with all the peppers. That is 2 ANAHIEM peppers. These were in place of the hatch chilies. Well, they're ANAHIEM chilies. And then these are jalapenos, 1 poblano, and a bell pepper. I chose red. Red is going to help bring out more of that, you know, tomato color, that red color that you're used to. You don't have to choose red. You could go with a green bell pepper. You could go with a yellow bell pepper. So go ahead, we'll spritz these down. Let that sit for just a minute. Alright, so rinse these bad boys off. Next, we're going to get the ROMA tomatoes. Do the same thing with those. Just going to spritz them down, do a little food wash. And last but not least, we're going to throw the cilantro in here. Spread that out a little bit. We're going to take a look inside there, make sure there was no buggies up inside this cilantro. No bugs in the cilantro. Spray that bad boy down. This stuff can sit here for longer because this is going to be the last thing that we end up using. Without that persuader. Alright, couldn't make this any more simple. What you're going to do is you're going to chop off. I just want to get that root out of there. I just want to get the butthole. Get rid of that butthole, split it in half on the tray. Get rid of the butthole, split it in half on the tray. Our bell pepper, I'm going to chop the top off right there, and I'm going to come down these right in between the ribs. That's how I do it. Right in between the ribs. You get what you want. Get your meat of your bell pepper. None of the added. There you go. That bad boy is pretty clean, man. That's how I cut bell peppers. Now you can leave these peppers about this size. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make them just a little bit smaller so that when we blend them up, it's a little bit easier on the blender. So we'll cut those up like that. No seeds. Drop those onto the plate. Now I like to go back to the top of the pepper and make sure that I get all this goodness right there. Now can you throw the entire thing in there? Seed, stems, all? Yes, of course. But then you get seeds and stems and stuff in your goodies. So all I'm going to do with the ANAHIEM peppers is, you know, I could take them, I can go like this. I like to keep the seeds on these because they got a little bit of a kick to them, and seeds really aren't that bad. But the jalapenos are what end up setting this thing to the spice level. Now, test out stuff for yourself. Don't go ahead and just go, I'm gonna go badass right off the bat and go with all the jalapeno. We're gonna leave the seeds in for roasting, but we're gonna scoop those out before we end up putting them into our salsa. So we'll set those on the tray just like that, make a little bit of room, and we're gonna get our poblano, last one. I'm just chopping off the top, yanking out this, smacking some seeds out, and just like everything else, I can cut this up. You can leave all these peppers whole. You don't have to chop them up. It's simple as that. And just like that, we got our salsa on our tray. Our oven just dinged behind us just a couple seconds ago. So last but not least, that's perfectly good. All this poblano right there, throw it on the tray, baby. Now, you have options here. You can go olive oil if you have it. It's easy, it's one of the best for you. But if you're a little bit courageous in your spending and your finances, then you can pop up this avocado oil, which is arguably better for cooking and roasting, because this has a smoke point of 500 degrees. So we're just gonna throw a little bit of avocado oil down on these guys. You know, you could throw these into basically like a bowl and you know, toss them in this, but this is easy enough. And add some sea salt. And go ahead and add some garlic. Now this is the point. This is the point of all my cooking. You don't have to be some perfect Iron Chef. Just throw some seasonings on these bad boys and get them going. We're about to throw them all in a blender, and it's not gonna matter. It's not gonna matter where the seasoning was because we just blended it all up. So that was a little bit of paprika. We're gonna put some cayenne pepper. This is gonna help even give more heat. So we're not gonna put too much of the cayenne pepper, but we will throw a little bit down because we're gonna scoop out those jalapenos. And then a little bit of ground cumin, just a tiny bit. This is not a necessity, but it can add that extra, you know, kick for you. And I like to put a little bit of ground pink salt. This isn't a necessity. Once again, you don't have to do the cumin and you don't have to do the pink salt, but we're gonna fire those up this time. Oven's ready to go. We're gonna fire these bad boys in. 420, oven's fired up. We'll leave those in there for anywhere about 30 minutes. 30 minutes, you wanna check and see if they're got a good roast to them. It doesn't have to be a crazy roast. This is just to give it a little bit of a different flavor and cook those spices into the actual, basically marriage them together with the produce that you just chopped up. Instead of putting those spices in and then blending everything together, which yes, that would marriage everything together, we're gonna cook the spices into them a little bit more, basically like marinating those suckers. Put these bad boys on the parchment paper. Hitting them with some avocado oil. Whoops. Hit them with some cayenne. A little paprika. And then just some sea salt. These bad boys up. Pop them in the air fryer. Turn this bad boy on. We're gonna crank this. We're gonna leave it at 15 minutes. We're gonna crank this bad boy to 400. We're just gonna start. We are going to pop that bad boy into place, and we're going to take 2 mason jars because that's how I do my measuring. Doesn't have to be this way. We're gonna go ahead and get 1 cup. We're gonna get 1 cup of water. Okay, 1 cup of water. And half a cup of distilled vinegar. There we go. Half a cup of distilled vinegar. And then what we're gonna do is we're using the juice of an entire lemon. and the juice of an entire lime. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put these straight into the water right now.
It's going down. It's going down.
Alright, so we are going to go ahead and hit cancel on the oven. We're gonna pull this tray of beautiness out. Set it to salsa and let it fire up. Look at that. Pour some of that in there. All right. So the couple things we talked about with this salsa. One, you don't have to put as much cilantro in as I did. I just really like cilantro and it's good for you, so I eat it. Two, you could roast the tomatoes a little bit longer and peel off the stems if you don't want, where's a good example? These little slivers right here that are tomato skins. I don't mind them, I can't even tell. They're kind of like anything else that's in here, just deliciousness. So I don't even it doesn't even faze me. What were the other key? One or two, we used Anaheim chilies instead of the Hatch chilies because they didn't have any at the store. Three, you could leave the seeds in on the jalapenos if you want to get that extra. Kapow! What other things? You could use an oven, you could use an air fryer, you could use a grill, you could use a stovetop to roast any of these things that you wanted to. 4 or 5. You do not have to roast any of this stuff. You can put all of this stuff fresh into a blender and rip it together. It just won't have a little bit of the marriaged seasonings together. You won't have marinated those seasonings into the actual produce at all. That's about it. Fire up that salsa and do all kind of different things, man. Try different things. None of my recipes are ever going to be, if you don't follow this, blah. Like, come on now. It's like a research paper right here for a scientist. I put this out here. Now, you do the research of what I just put in front of you. You try it out for yourself. You say, I don't like that. I want to change this up, tweak this, or I think this would work better. And you do that. And you post a video and you tag me. And then I make it the way you made it and see if I like it that way too. Because why not? What the hell? Let's try things new. So, ZZ Chefin' out.